Last year, Nike closed its corporate headquarters for a week-long paid mental health sabbatical ahead of the company's September reopening plans. Nike received a lot of criticism from internet users for continuing to employ forced Uyghur labor in Chinese factories to make their shoes. Despite claiming to be concerned about its employees' well-being, Nike's mental health break did not appear to apply to the hundreds of Uyghur Muslims compelled to work in Chinese factories. We thought it was time to put on our ropes and take a peek inside the Nike's factory in China. We'll take a look at some huge backlashes that Nike faced in China, how the millions of Nike shoes are made in such a short turnaround. Are the wages and the working conditions worth the Nike motto and moral values? Let's get a deep dive into it. The first and most important thing to understand is that Nike factories in China aren't technically Nike factories at all. Instead, the multinational firm subcontracts its manufacturing out to a firm Guangzhou Guangrong Footwear Co., which is much more popularly known as Shoetown Footwear Co. Recent controversy: China and Nike. According to a LinkedIn post by Nike's Senior Manager of Global Marketing Science, Matt Marazzo, the company's headquarters were powering down for a week-long mental health break. Marazzo added, "Our top leaders are all conveying a clear message. Take the time to decompress, grieve, and spend time with your loved ones. Do not work, as this last year has been difficult. We're all human and dealing with a painful situation. But I'm confident that the empathy and grace we've shown our coworkers will have a beneficial influence on the workplace atmosphere going ahead. It's not just a week off for the team, it's an acknowledgement that we can prioritize mental wellness while still getting work done," he continued. "Support the individuals you care about. It's not just beneficial for business, but it's also the respectful thing to do." According to an Australian Strategic Policy Institute assessment dated March 2020, over 600 Uyghur laborers from China's Xinjiang province worked at Qingdao Taekwang Shoes Co. Limited, whose principal customer is the American multinational firm Nike Inc. The Xinjiang laborers are largely Uyghur women from the Hotan and Kashgar prefectures in southern Xinjiang, which the Chinese government has labeled backward and disturbed by religious extremism. During the day, Uyghur workers at the factory create Nike shoes. They go to a night school in the evenings where they learn Mandarin, chant the Chinese national anthem, and get vocational training and patriotic education. The curriculum closely resembles that of the re-education centers in Xinjiang. The sportswear businesses were the most recent victims of a reaction sparked by a Chinese government request to prevent foreign brands from tarnishing China's reputation, when internet users discovered previous remarks they had made against Xinjiang. In March 2021, Nike issued a statement denying that it obtains items from the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region and claimed to be concerned about continuous claims of forced labor in China. Nike faced criticism on Chinese social media after internet users discovered the company's views about the use of forced labor in Xinjiang. Nike and Adidas, both of which have experienced tremendous growth in China, have previously said that they do not obtain items or yarn from the Xinjiang area. Some online users have stated that they would quit buying Nike and instead support local companies like Li Ning and Anta, while others have stated that Adidas should leave China. The conflict puts Western corporations in a difficult position, as they must weigh their ambition to develop their business in China against consumer sentiment in their own markets. The Nike factory in China. Nike sneakers are almost entirely made outside of the United States. China and Vietnam are the top two Nike shoe producers in the world, each accounting for 36% of total production. Indonesia accounts for 22% of all Nike shoes made worldwide, whereas Thailand accounts for 6%. There are 785 contract factories employing over 1 million people that produce over 500,000 distinct items. Nike makes a large portion of their products in China, which should come as no surprise to anyone. Many American fashion labels, such as Tommy Hilfiger, Guess, and Ralph Lauren, do the same thing. What is the reason behind this? Manufacturing in China is far less expensive than manufacturing in the United States. Shoetown Footwear Co. Limited is a key partner and worldwide contract factory for Nike. It is a subsidiary of the Evervan Group, which operates in China, Indonesia, and Korea. Shoetown Footwear, originally Guangzhou Guangrong Footwear Co. Limited, was formed in 1987, spans 80 acres, employs 11,000 people, and generates 600 million yuan in yearly output. It is a large-scale Sino-foreign footwear joint venture, as well as Nike's first contractual plant in mainland China, making sports shoes for the firm. Mr. Zhang Wu from Taiwan is the operations manager and legal representative. To expand its expansion area, the firm purchased more than 500 acres of property in Taihe Industrial Zone, Qingxin County, excluding supporting industries, and incorporated as Qingyuan Guangshuo Shoes Co. Limited. The factory's relocation and expansion was completed on February 25, 2006. There are 12 basketball shoe manufacturing lines, 9 football shoe production lines, an annual production capacity of 14 million pairs, an annual export value of approximately $150 million, and more than 18,000 employees, with a total investment of $50 million. The organization practices humanized management, putting people first and treating staff as important assets. The firm decides to form a labor union, and there are now 10 full-time employees who safeguard employees' rights and interests, settle employee conflicts, maintain peaceful labor relations, and perform practical and good things for them. The firm's motto is efforts to create a three-win scenario for the company, customers, and workers so that employees may work and live joyfully in an atmosphere full of compassion and love. The factory is Nike's first choice because labor and materials are cheaper in China, so Nike can make more money when selling its goods. You have some high-priced Nike items since they're from a limited edition collection or have a unique technology. Regardless, they were most likely made in China or other Asian nations in the end. How it's made. Cold cement construction is used to make the majority of Nike shoes. Polyurethane glue is what shoe cement is made up of. The PU adhesive, often known as shoe cement, is either solvent-based or water-based. Cemented shoes are seen in almost every style of athletic footwear. Due to the low temperatures necessary for bonding the upper to the shoe bottom, Nike's cold cement shoe manufacturing allows for the use of current lightweight plastic, foam, and mesh materials. This cold cement technology is used to make every current Nike high-performance athletic shoe for running, basketball, and other sports. The strobel bottom can be used to prepare the shoe top during the cold cement process. The outsole covers the edge top in this traditional jogger shape, allowing a strobel bottom to be employed to make the shoe lighter and more flexible. A mechanical form, formed like a human foot, is known as a last. The upper is heated first, to soften the materials before the last is placed and tightened. The upper is cooled to shrink the upper tight to the last, after the last is fastened within the upper and temporary shoelaces are pulled tight. The rubber sheet sole is integrated with the EVA foam cushioning component glued within the sole unit while the upper is being produced. This is accomplished through a separate procedure known as stock fitting. Primer and cement. The two sections join together now that the top is finished and the exterior unit is finished. Primer and cement will be applied to the rubber sole unit. The outsole will receive its EVA and rubber-specific primer. The upper of the shoe is also primed and cemented separately. The two parts are hand-joined when the contact cement and primer have dried fully in the heating tunnels. After aligning the top and the outsole, the trained worker inserts the shoe in a hydraulic press. Pressing, cooling, and delasting. Typically, the shoe will go through 3 pressing procedures, all of which are completed on the same machine: vertical, toe, and heel presses, as well as side presses. This guarantees that the top and outsole are in complete touch. After the shoe has been squeezed together, it is frequently placed in a cooling tunnel to allow the adhesive to solidify. A shoe delasting machine is used after the cooling tunnel to force the last out of the sneaker without distorting the upper. Now the sneaker is complete. Cool, isn't it? Working conditions. Multinationals might modify the order and require a different model of shoe with little or no notification, pushing the subcontractor to make fast adjustments in their production setup. Everything must be completed in a short amount of time, causing people to work hard and fast, as well as put in enormous amounts of overtime in order to maintain their employment. Forced labor may have been used to make your beloved pair of Nikes. Poor working conditions are not only the consequence of having a particularly tough factory owner, quite apart from the company's colorful slogans. The multinational corporations, not the subcontractors, ultimately determine the rate of production as well as the salaries of the workers indirectly. If a subcontractor wants to continue in business, he must follow the multinational's deadline and accept the price per shoe that Nike is ready to pay. When corporations put pressure on subcontractors, the subcontractors put pressure on the employees. Nike, like other modern corporations, prefers to portray itself as a positive force on the earth rather than a profit-making machine focused on the selling of sneakers. As a result, it works hard to improve its image through charitable donations, lofty phrases like a brand of hope and inspiration, and active attempts to guarantee that it is on the right side of the diversity problem. Wages and work schedule. Quality control managers at Shoetown Footwear, who have 16 years of shoe production expertise, are paid a base wage plus additional income for each pair of shoes they complete, as well as overtime compensation. It equates to about 4,100 yuan each month, or $640. The typical employee gets even less, but it's worth it in comparison to the $100 per month earned from wheat growing in their village. Starting at 8 a.m. and ending at 9:30 p.m., 6 days a week, the work schedule is highly challenging. The company's history with forced labor, on the other hand, tells a different picture. Nike teamed up with Coca-Cola and Apple in November 2020 to push against the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, which would have imposed a number of restrictions on China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, including banning some imports and imposing punishment on people responsible for human rights breaches. Let's just hope Nike's working practices live up to the firm's lofty brand ideals, and that latter-day deserving people of China can at least somewhere get a good job at this multinational brand. What do you think? Is Nike justified keeping suppliers pressurized in order to achieve greater production along with keeping costs competitive for the end user? Tell us your ideas in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Tech Rumor for more thought-provoking tech videos.